Go ahead. Hello, everybody. This is Empty Turtle. I'm here with Dr. David Jubb. This is Jubb Talk. And we got a good one for you today. It's called Personal Power. And Dr. Jubb, say hello to the audience.
Good day, mate. I think actually just when you knock on the door, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of like visiting, yeah?
Sure.
What about when you go to open the door, sort of like?
Okay.
It's like a feeling of power.
Okay. Opening the door is power.
Yeah. What about knocking on the door?
I don't know.
Yes,
Power,
something's going to be open to you.
Okay.
Do you have a feeling that sometimes doors aren't knocked on?
Doors aren't?
Yeah, knocked on.
Well, you know, a lot of doors aren't getting knocked on because they have that new technology.
You think that doors might not be getting knocked on because people have phones and all sorts of stuff, cell phones, and they're just like with their personal devices?
Well, I mean, it depends on what do you mean by doors getting knocked on.
Yeah, because, well, if there's no interaction... How much doors are getting knocked on?
Oh, a lot less?
Well, I mean, if you're just getting something from something dead, basically, it's not actually interacting with you. Yeah. But what if it could go, like, have sounds like click and ka-dump,
all right,
or zip, or wow. These are all sort of things which I guess artificial intelligence might. But power you and I have, it really is to do where flow is. And if somebody asked you, like my teacher, Cloud, 2 children, she'd be the first question that she would ask, pretty much. It would be to do with, do you know what your power is?
That is a great question.
Yeah. Oh, well, like if somebody was asking you what some of the things might you say, like what's your personal power?
I can smell good. I smell good.
Something is fragrant. Yeah, that's right. Actually, priests generally smell good. But wait a minute. Spiritual people, they smell good. So like fragrance as far as how much attention is occupying things. This is probably a key because, in fact, if something really smells good to you, it's sort of because you're inspired in life. And
I can go weeks without a shower and I still smell good.
Yeah, so some people can really be quite sweet where things are, and others cannot be so.
Yeah.
And so power, in your capacity to be able to influence people without having done anything per se, but something is existing, of course, where like a fragrance is, and it's something which, well, a charisma is like that for sure, because like what you're saying is somebody really has charisma. Charisma is certain a great definition of power. So basically then what you just said is you're getting things done, and it's the power that something is happening and it's just natural, but you'll be getting served.
All right.
So would you think for all of us it really is your ability to be able to influence others?
It just depends on what your goals are, but what level of influence,
Oh, well,
I'd like to influence everybody to subscribe to Jubb Talk, but it's about the
some people would care to make a major purchase, for instance, and they're thinking about that. That's a masterpiece inside, and they're thinking, well, I would like to make this purchase, but it's kind of like jumping out of an aeroplane.
Sure.
and some fear is there, but if it's a calculated risk, something has existed, but somebody has to be able to walk through those areas where someone fears. And so we need to have a tool and tools that allow us to be able to progress and transform and and install new behavior generators.
I tell you what, it's funny how you bring up jumping out of an airplane, because when I was younger, I wanted to jump out of an airplane. I thought it'd be so exciting, so amazing. I'm sure it is. But now that I'm older, heck no. I don't want to do that. That's crazy. Only young people are crazy.
Yes. So there's various things that one could not have as many variables, because they might reduce those variables, and something about that could make sense to someone. And then, of course, because the activities of things can be like breaking like a bubble, or bursting through some paradigm, or having a capacity to speak something which is beneficial, though kind of something slight about that, it can be sort of not favourable. And then, like, so for instance, also to like where somebody didn't achieve success, for instance, what's your strategy for managing this? Yeah. I have a feeling that like what we're talking about a little bit more might relate to things where conflictedness is, and that where someone is that they're looking at things and, well, you could allow 22% of yourself to be critical about something, actually, and it really works.
Really?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Matter of fact, people who could put a straw straight through a potato, yes, they have a degree of, I wonder if I can do this. But it's a certain percentage. It's got to be below, around about, 22%, you see, but it can't be above it. It's sort of like you and I and our nerve, and getting a nerve to function and have something like sent down the nerve, right?
Well, there's a T-shirt right there, 22%.
Yeah, because if you have 23, it's like 1% over.
Oh no! So 22% is the goal.
Yeah, well, if you're below 22% and you've got a bit of criticalness there, it's going to work.
Okay.
Well, what would you be if you didn't have a bit of criticalness there? Tell me.
I would be a fool.
They call this deferring your judgment, right? And so your personal power could be like where perfect detachment is, like we're talking about. It's no longer gross. That's all. It's not like a groveled level where someone is, but it's much finer. Like, so somebody really knows, like, for instance, what's slippery slope, where somebody's using that.
Sure.
So what would slippery slope be like?
Well, somebody's going to use that because they don't really know the facts of the conversation or the argument, the debate.
Yeah, like if I said something was a contagion, but I had never examined.
And then I say, wow, that's a slippery slope.
Yeah, that would be because nothing's been isolated. Okay, so what about straw man?
What about it?
Yeah, somebody gives you a straw man. Like, we should need to be able to handle that. We should need to be able to recognise it. So, straw man would be...
Is an example of it is what?
Oh, it would be where, like, I'm giving you, like, let's say I say, well, are you going to take this or not?
Ultimatum.
No, well, you see, there's two choices here.
Oh, so straw man's two choices.
Straw man always is giving you two polarized choices and getting you to get into the last choice and have to polarize with that and have to have accepted the first thing I said.
Okay.
And so, like, it's kind of like you don't feel right when somebody does that, right? Because there's some force going on, but then you need to recognize, that was, a straw man, that was given. Because both of those alternatives I gave, they didn't satisfy what you had inside yourself, you see?
Well, it seems like the whole election was a straw man argument.
Oh, well, politic and, these are things which there's an art where anything is.
You only got two choices.
Well, who would be so successful or they did something? I mean, it's typical that power that you have, it is to influence others. Mm-hmm. So influence is just one thing. But, what about things where somebody's attached? That's what I think our program should be about today,
okay.
And
personal power.
Well, yeah, and getting rid of the places where attachedness is, because perfect detachment is having the ability to have the most flexibility.
Okay.
Would you think that if an element has the most flexibility in the system, that is the
longer
controlling element in the whole system?
Okay.
Right. So, you look, Occam's razor is like if something very simple is an explanation, kind of doesn't really require something like convoluted and extremely complex.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
When a simple thing is, you see, like the verb is.
Like a cow eating grass.
Yes, because if somebody was sitting next to someone and they wanted to teach them about God, and the little one just said, do you know why an animal like a deer has pellets? And then paused and what's the reason why some animals have
into
pellets?
A slippery slope there, little fella.
Yes, but you just asked whoever wants you to know about God, and you just said, ask them a question.
Well, that's a slippery slope.
What's the reason why a deer has pellets?
I have no idea.
And a cow has a patty.
Does a deer find pellets in the woods?
No, its digestive tract actually causes it to munch on something which becomes a pellet, and it becomes what's a bolus.
See, you're talking about going out. I thought you were talking about going
their
in.
digestion sort of works for them to actually have pellets, whereas cows have patties. You see, cows have patties.
That's right.
Yeah, well...
And you know what? If I was an animal, I would rather be a cow just because of that.
It's just loose. You're a graze whore. Yeah. But you see, I'm giving you my model of the world, and we always are. Mm-hmm. So every time I'm speaking, God help us, you're hearing what my model is.
Well, here's the thing, deer are always running around, jumping around, and that's nice and healthy.
Yeah.
But a cow, you're just walking around eating grass. Yeah. People stop by and say hello if you're by a highway.
Exactly. Oh, how nice. Oh, there's a few things there, aren't there? But somebody want to teach you about God, they might not know, about SH1T.
And there's a reason why they say deer in the headlights.
So is it a manly thing if you were getting your picture taken to deer-eye the crowd? Pop your eyes.
Probably not. It's probably more of a comical thing.
Yeah, of course it would be, but not necessarily comical, because isn't it what she does? She has to pop her eyes. She gets sort of pop-eyed sort of thing all of a sudden.
Yes.
Yeah, because something about having big eyes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but does he have to have big eyes? I'm asking you.
I don't know. Maybe?
No.
Good.
Now, if I take a picture of you right now, I have never seen you. Exactly. Your eyes are not.
I got little beady eyes.
Well, yeah, you could be.
And a brow that sticks way out.
Look a bit like Genghis Khan and Buddha.
No.
Well, yeah, no,
I
you do.
More like a Neanderthal.
Genghis Khan and Buddha.
I definitely have some Neanderthal ancestors.
Well, Genghis Khan, you don't think that was the Golden Horde?
Because my big head and my big ears.
These people used everything. God help us.
Neanderthals
But anyway,
needed their big ears.
But people have personal power. Pretty amazing. It really was something that often can sometimes occur, which causes someone to become into the moment, certainly. Like, for instance, Genghis Khan, certain it was that when he was 10, his dad actually being poisoned by a tribe, and the chief and this sort of thing, kind of influenced him a lot. But also too, there was a lot of little fiefdoms that were set up along the Silk Road at the time, as one group more or less was trying to get their cut and own the Silk Road,
Well, Genghis Khan,
which was recently.
You talk about personal power.
1200 AD.
Genghis Khan had it.
Exactly.
I mean?
So he installed the Buddha, the first Dalai Lama sort of thing, in Tibet, and made that a clerical form of government instead of civic.
Made it a thing.
But anyway, if somebody's listening, I might need to actually listen and re-listen. In fact, and some programs are sort of really a bit of a deep dive, isn't it, into kind of what's kind of classical, really, because isn't it about your body, mind, and spirit?
Sure.
Because kind of when you're doing things that's like that, it's sort of really more a cosmological insight more, right? And Margaret Mead would be happy about that because she was put qualitative research more into the universities and things, and childhood development and all these sorts of things where that happens in the university. I think it's tremendous what she's added as an anthropologist, you see. And then, her husband, Gregory Bateson, was really quite nice, and really Birdwhistle and these people got into body language, mate, and taught people a bit about that. But Cloud, 2 children, she was just so masterful, and the Toltec were incredible at being able to teach a shaman how to read another person's body language and be able to do implicit and explicit body reading, mind reading sort of technique. But most people kind of not too good at any mind reading at all. But anyway.
Trust me, I'm the worst.
Oh, well, men tend to be not too good. Women tend to be better, right?
Women's into witching.
Empathics is a really good thing, but also too, being able to jump outside of an airplane or do something like you were saying, or having moved through something, a certain amount of testosterone is needed.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but now it's interesting because it causes you to be able to, if you've got testosterone, and she could have a certain amount of this too. And these people all are really incredible at being able to do hand-eye coordination sort of stuff. Like, where the racket has to be, the angle of it.
Oh, yeah.
And the stroke, so that you're actually putting a spin on the ball.
Yeah,
and you want to spin away from your opponent sort of thing.
Well, I used to use a lot of spin when I played, but you know what? Now that I think about it, I wish I would have played more with a flat head. Where the ball's more flat.
Oh, well, your style was only to have one whack, that was it.
I was all brute and no brains.
Yeah.
Wait, okay. All brute, no brains. That's it.
Well, some people, their ace was
brains.
The only thing they had, and it was incredible. It was like, sorry, but it was hard to handle by anybody. They were fearful about the serve.
I had a killer serve.
Yes, okay. So
my second serve would like people's first serves.
What would be the reason why you tapped it 3 times on the court, which I saw you used to do? So why would that be?
Well, it's all
before
about,
you serve.
It's all about preparation, and that kind of gets you in that kind of starts things off.
It does. Matter of fact, there's something always as a set that sets us off. That's within ourselves, isn't it? Like, well, what about things where you're motivated? What sorts of behaviours might somebody have that feels they want to be motivated themselves, or you get motivated to do something? So what?
Oh, how about being late on your bills? That's good motivation right there.
This is called negative keto, but it could be called positive keto because somebody was wanting to do something ahead of time.
Behind.
Yeah, but these are called kicks in the pants. They create movement. Motivation in the difference would be like things which...
Like self-motivation?
Well, motivation like internal as a need.
Okay.
There is no built-in drive going on that's zeroing it out per se. Whereas like if something satisfied me in the other realm there, you were talking about...
Desire.
Oh, you want more. But
Desire.
where this is... it's just you're going to participate in something day in, day out because you're benefiting from being in growth, growing
and then
where you
want
are,
people to
and
look
growing
at you
people,
and say, hey,
achieving and getting behind achievement and getting behind recognition and getting behind acknowledgement.
Or people want to live a nicer life and go out there and work.
These
and
are
make
sorts
more
of
money.
things, or
figure something out,
which naturally
That's
sort
motivation.
of happen to somebody who is sort of receptive and empty relative. So
right now my motivation is comfort.
So would you say, like, in the future moment where anything is that most people, they can absolutely consider anything if they're in a neutral zone?
Yeah.
It's just, but then, okay, so, well, if I'm in a neutral zone, I can consider something like well and truly. And if there was some conflictedness where I was, is that the reason why I'm not necessarily in a neutral zone?
Why is personal power important?
Because it's actually, you would think, the very benefit that somebody has is to social influence.
Okay.
Yeah, for social influence. So in leadership, for instance, like, what skill somebody has straight up, it's sort of really like your hands and your whole self could have a serial memory, and you may have a great intelligence at getting things done, because you've got a great serial and a simultaneous sort of processing capacity. So, you can self-initiate. And you're able, meaning that somebody didn't have to say anything to you, but you just did this anyway because it's sort of, well, that's fantastic. Most of us can be looking at others and the value you have toward anyone, I would say, is your self-initiatedness where you are, and like you self-initiate like things. So, that's one thing, it's very valuable. The other thing would be another area of aptitude, which you and I will, or anybody has in their personal power, is your ability for partnering, and where somebody is not so good at something, I see what you do like is you'll give them a chance at something, though you could do it a little better yourself. And that's an incredible partnering skill. Okay, so where people are in their partnering, people could have a whole range of things which a book could be written just about partnering itself. Okay, but let's put that aside because there's things we should move on to.
Who's the best partner if you're looking for love and marriage?
In profession, it would be generally like studies show a teacher.
Really? So, all you out there, if you're looking for love and to get married, make it a teacher.
Teachers. What would you think?
What about a nurse that teaches?
What would you think? Well, actually, teachers. That's right. Like, you could be teaching scuba diving,
okay,
or dancing, or like computer skills.
Accounting,
but teaching
math.
Teachers. Yeah. So we're teachers in school mainly, right? Okay. So because we just like studies looked at these people, but we could look at 1,000 people.
Well, I was
or different types.
A female math.
But okay, that's good. That's a good one to stick with. Okay, so what's the reason why teachers, you think, they are good partners?
I would say because they're constantly having to teach their man how to, for one, cleanliness and hygiene, right?
Yeah, okay, so amazing. So the basic things teachers are teaching kids, and they have to do it.
There you go, right?
Okay, so, well, most of us, we're thinking, I think we're going to leave that to Beaver sort of thing.
Well, and I would be like,
but
excuse me, but when am I supposed to insert this comma?
I think that personally is sort of really parenting and prudence. Parents do an incredible job where their children are. But okay, so partnering really, there's a lot going on there. But so you've got so far self-initiative types of things. That makes sense. And right. I mean, it's like you didn't have to get told to do something and you're doing those things. And so people see you and how much self-initiative you have. It's really evident. And somebody wants to jump aboard and they go, oh, please, I really want us to do this. Okay. And this is your personal power. Another one would be, like I mentioned, what I've seen you do is that things where you're a bit better at doing something, you'll give the person where you are and give them a bit of energy by letting them do something which you could do a little bit better. But your focus is, excuse me, more on learning. So it's about what could I do for you sort of thing, which is truly incredible because somebody's receptive. All right. So another area aptitude-wise where leadership is to do with family or team building, right? And your team and building a team. So would you have a feeling that a lot of things that actually we achieve, like the law or all sorts of things, relate to, your capacity certainly, or anyone else's in history, their ability to have been able to influence people by being able to build a team?
I think two important things to be as a leader would be one, common sense. If you're looking for a good leader, look for common sense and action. All right, start with that. It might lead you in a good direction because you want a leader that, has common sense and not trying to do crazy stuff. Hey, let's.
So team building is that last aptitude is a good one because got to count there for sure.
Yeah.
But the other three are really important. But team building skills, like some people, you probably would give them a bit 0 for building a team.
Who?
Would you give them 0 for building a team?
I don't know. I'd have to see what they build, right?
Yeah, but you're a great judge. But if you're a great judge, can we hear that you could give them 0 or 1? You'd probably give them 1 out of 10. I mean, if they did, they failed though at building a team.
Failed?
Yes.
Oh my God.
You're able to determine
Why would I give
this.
them a 1 if they fail?
Thank you. And a 10 would be for someone who's really good, right? You're going to give them a 10.
Yeah.
You don't give anybody an 11 because that's wrong. You know what I mean?
Well, it depends.
It's just overboard.
It depends.
No.
I could see giving an 11 out there.
Yeah, that's right. You're human, and we see that you're a pretty good judge.
Let's just say the team that's being built is being built by, say, a girlfriend.
Right.
There's 11 right there.
Yeah. So to get anything passed on out of that scale, right, you could have 2 out of 10 against the person and still be for them.
Cool.
Okay. Also, too, some people would kind of maybe only get a 1 for team building because, what if somebody had the job of rounding up cats?
That's difficult. However, it's funny you should bring that up.
Okay, so when you're thinking about cats, okay, what you've got?
We were waiting an hour and a half, and they said.
Oh, okay. Yes. How good is that? Everybody really is doing what they can to get things, and the personal power that we have is how do we process things when we don't get something?
Well, I mean, I totally agree with you. That sounds
where somebody is processing something that you don't get.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you process that? Because there's probably a really good way to do it.
Well, and that's
some people are very good at that, right?
And processing.
So leaders are very good at that. Oh man, no, leaders are the best at this.
What they're telling you. It's important to have a good processing system for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, these things all are aptitudes, but like the team building one, it's sort of like chaining multiple anchors together. Mm-hmm. See, and it's really being good at that. And so some things have got to be micromanaged, these sorts of things. And team building is really skills that somebody has to be able to see the bigger picture. And kind of want to just ask you something like 1 out of 10 again, like there's a jigsaw there, but it's like a metaphor. Something has to be solved, right? And I was just wondering, some people really give them a 10 for solving problems, Jay, right? They're really good at it.
Team, I'd make sure that everybody was smarter than me for one.
Well, that's like NASA. But NASA, a lot of people know that this means not a straight answer.
I could have a team of 6th graders. They'd be smarter.
Well, everybody knows that if you've got more people on board, it's probable that you're going to make better decisions. That's something which and actually, you know, most of us actually feel that actually because we don't want to make a decision by ourselves. We go, well, where's the crew? I mean, you did something, but then your support wasn't there. See?
Well, check this out. Remember that show? What was it? Oh, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? I remember I wanted to be on there, right? And so I thought, well, let me warm up. And I was talking to my friend's kid. He was the fourth grader, right? And wow, he whipped my ass. So I didn't even bother trying to go on that show.
Okay, so well then things in fact actually like where children are, there could be something that one child shuts down because another child is better at it.
Okay.
But these are things which actually like what we're talking about right now. So there's a whole range of things which we could have accepted, but unwittingly, and not having ever thought about that, but that these things become sort of imprints, things inside. So for instance, if something was only wound forward, but you couldn't accept what that was, and it was a major piece, and the only thing that you could see that it was such a backward thing, and that what you would really need to do is to actually run that backward, not forward. And if you ran it backward, you know, in your brain, you would have come back to where you were without it. And so it's sort of like a model of shrinking things and using the vestibular sense to do that. But it's a sort of a technological thing, but we could come to all those sorts of things. But basically, I could just say that if you turn the volume, well, that's sound, or turn the brightness, or that's visual, turn. If you turn something feeling-wise, also that's kinesthetic. Turn is vestibular. It's a meta. It's meta, meaning over the top of all the other senses.
Wow.
And if you turn up, or up is vestibular, down is vestibular. How the vestibular sense is used is sort of moderating our emotional response where things are. But basically, if somebody's kept things sort of at a level of 2, their shoulders are always relaxed, you see, basic. Or it could be just a little bit of posture where something is, which that's good, you know, because you've got a tonus relative and a knowledge to keep your feet straight when you're walking or something like this. But
I'm really bad at that.
But chaining multiple anchors together and actually being good at team building. You basically really something your overall fits, and you really make a 10 where somebody could feel this. And is it because people are listening to you, first of all?
Sure.
And is it like, why are people listening to you? Because they feel that you have gathered all the better ideas that people have actually, and you're passing this on?
I think people listen to me because I'm pleasant and funny. Not all the time, but most of the time.
If you're pleasant and funny, but it's not literal, though.
Yeah.
Right, but
I don't know what that. I mean,
but if
do I need to write it down?
No. Well, we're only talking about actually being in a leadership position because, of course, happiness and playfulness is a style in a way, and then that could be like a priority in our being, and then you would imagine that some prioritization is in the way that sort of conflictedness could have existed, but certainly one's own self-perception and their awareness of themselves, and having transpersonal perception where things are. I mean, that last one, that could be missing in a lot of people, right? The transpersonal perception. So, I mean, awareness could be a practice of being able to have perfect detachment, because a lot of people are attached to physical things, and those are things in channels below. And they can be things which is more to do with what is pertinent or relevant, because as we started our program, we kind of said wakefulness was very limited, and it's only 7 plus or minus 2 chunks of information at any one period of time, so that's limited.
Wakefulness is important. That's why I wake up at least 3 or 4 times a night.
What about the idea that what you're aware of is not wakefulness, but it is?
Okay.
It's not. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, you're getting deep.
Yeah, that's right. What about if awareness is you actually do stay with awareness because you have it, that you had a good night's sleep? Because most of you will say, yes, I did. And it's like, well, okay, but you were in deep sleep. You say, yes, I was. And you say, what was it that was happening in your deep sleep? And you always tell me or anyone else, I didn't really have any connection between any memory. And that's pretty good. That describes deep sleep.
And approaching perfect detachment. Well, guess what?
Oh, somebody's mind could be asleep
right?
in the day.
Yeah, I mean,
they
you
could
sleep
get a lot
whenever
more
you
done.
want.
Yeah, their mind could be empty, like you were just pointing out, empty, and they could get a hell of a lot more done.
I'm really good at that.
Do you have a feeling that people could talk a lot and they don't really get much done?
Oh, I'm excellent at that. That's a level. That's 11. I can give out an 11 on that.
So where we are, where anything is in our own self, there's a priority of things, and where somebody was able, let's say, as a child, to feel guilt, which I think that would be beneficial.
That make kids feel guilty. Shame on them.
Yeah, but what about a child who can feel guilt?
That's good. They're developing early.
Okay. So what about a child that can feel embarrassed?
Oh, that's good.
Okay. So what about a child that could feel a bit disgusted about something?
It's important.
Yes, okay. So what about a child who could feel loss?
Loss? Yeah. Okay. I mean, they're pets and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's okay. So what you're just saying is that, well, that's very good. Okay, so far you said that every single emotion is intelligent, which science will agree with you.
Okay.
And then the other thing that you said is just don't get stuck with any of those things, which that was presupposed, right?
Sure.
So in flow, where someone is, do you have a feeling that people could be attachy to the bank of, hedonism?
Oh, yes, all the time. It happens all the time.
Because you can't turn a good time off. Where you do, though. You really do quite well.
I do anyway.
But some people, they don't know how to turn a good time off. And so that's called EU stress.
EU stress.
Yeah, because we're talking about things where leadership is, you've got nothing like that. It's sort of no conflictedness. You're receptive, like you said, because only people are going to listen to you because you gathered everyone's good ideas. God help us. I heard you and I saw you do it, and then you said it and everybody agreed with you. Well, that's kind of sneaky. Well, no, it's not. It actually really is good leadership. Okay. So, and then also too, like in your view, which I think science agrees with you, people should be in service. So well, most people, they wouldn't know what you just said was the master is the servant's servant.
Is that what I said?
Well, basically, that's what you are saying. But I think science agrees with you because what the reason is why dogs are always sniffing butt. That's what I want to know.
Oh, why is that?
Because they're still looking for a lead whore.
Really?
Yes.
So if a dog sniffs my butt, they want me to be their leader?
No, they're all still sniffing. I said, dogs sniff butt to see who's the good lead whore. You see?
Oh, okay. So if a dog sniffs my butt and then looks me in the eyes, he's like, you know what, you're a good leader.
Yes.
But if he just walks off,
they know
like
it. No, they don't have to look you in the eyes after they've sniffed you, you see. It's like
if they do, that means you're a good leader. Right?
But okay, so olfaction does occupy a massive amount of attention.
What does?
Olfaction. I mean, smell.
Oh, it requires a lot of attention.
No, it occupies massive. Like,
it sure does. Because you know what I prefer. If I had to lose a sense, I would prefer smell. Even though I love the smell of food.
But it's interesting that when you shut something out or something, it could be actual that you've got a certain olfaction in the way that you do that, because you might say, well, that smells like a dead, and then you put something in there.
Exactly. A dead ant.
Really? You put an ant in there?
Well, what I put? A dead
I'm not
ant?
sure. You never smelled anything else dead except for an ant.
Oh!
That's not going to go down well with the average person.
I thought you were talking about metaphorically.
No, but I'm just saying, when somebody says, yeah, it's true,
but
it smells like...
If something's old, it smells like shit.
Well, no, it smells like a rose. This is something. I know it's what we're doing.
Something new, pretty.
But yes, fragrant. Something was sweet,
rose.
versus it was a bit, wasn't right. It was a bit acrid. So because our senses, like of smell, occupy such a massive amount of attention, you see, versus, when you're looking at something.
Okay. Well, check this out.
But what if you just felt it with a stick? These things are less. But if you could smell it, then what? You can't do it.
No.
Okay, that's right. And so it's an amazing thing that feeling won't put things in a category as much like that as quick and smart as smell does. But in fact, it truly is that something that's attractive to you, it really is because you've got a lengthened inspiration through your nose.
Isn't it amazing?
And just along with that, because I know that's a very good line. But if you had to select somebody because of their personal power, okay, that's good. And they were coming out in the morning, and all you're going to do is just only see one behaviour. That's it. Not 2, 3, 4. No, it's going to tell you everything, like you said.
Really?
Right? Yeah. Well, what you said. You covering these variables.
But isn't there like 2 or 3 behaviours going on at one time?
I think actually you'll be able to tell a lot by what this one behaviour is.
The main behaviour.
Yes, sir. It's sort of to do with olfaction.
How about this? How about this interesting? Isn't it funny how our feet can smell and our nose can run?
That's right. Because when you're sweet, where something is, of course, people some have a fetish for ears or feet,
really,
or an elbow.
Oh, no, I've definitely heard about the feet.
No, well, some certain
Ears?
fetishes for certain
Not
parts
so
of
much.
the knees, like a jaw or something.
Really?
Fetishes.
So
yes.
people have fetishes on different parts of the body.
Well, it's something that they must have to
Ears?
have imagined a little bit that was forbidden, you see.
Okay.
Or, they have an activity about that.
Okay.
But anyway, getting back to conflictedness where it is, first we just sort of went over and said, you could have 22% and that's okay, but 23 and you're done for. The message doesn't get passed on because you've got to have 78% of your nervous system behind something, which is an all or nothing phenomenon.
Oh.
Right. And another thing that you said before was, as a tennis player, like I had to know where the trajectory of the ball was.
Sure.
And how the hell could I do that if I was thinking about something else? No way. You have to be playing out of your brain. That's it. Also, strategy is like if you got to get to B, you just got to get to B. You don't want to hear someone go to C, D, E, F, and G when you just need to go to B? No, yeah. So some sort of an efficiency has existed for sure. But
Neural efficiency.
where you and I are, where we could actually be worth our salt, like you were saying. Power is our ability to be able to win friends and influence people.
They are calling all these people on the internet that are doing that, they call them influencers.
Well, 10% of people are influencers.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great to know.
Yeah, because actually a flocking, most of us have a flocking, and we have a strategy ourselves. We want to observe it and we see something works and we go, okay, so we're going to do this. But of course, it takes some people to be the scout. Would you agree?
Sure.
Yeah, these people are noted in history, and there's something unusual about them because they actually study at least several times or go the several times the distance a normal person would, and they sort of become a scout first as a medicine beloved, and then they become more like a sage, sort of more in the whole tradition of the Toltec. But personal power, first, like we've just sort of been saying, is your ability, your mind, to be able to have social influence of another, and when wouldn't it be good that actually we were able to clear away the conflicted parts by looking at what was the value of something which is existing, present, where anything is, anything. It's a good idea because it's grassroots way to do this. So you valuing where the conflicted part is. And now you're growing that conflicted part up where self-autonomy needs to be. And as it is, it comes up to what's ideal. And what's ideal is interrelatedness.
So with our personal power, the goal is to influence.
Yeah, absolutely, because as you said, you would love people just to do things, which that's right, that's good, and something about what you've done causes people to be on board what you're doing.
I see.
You see, well, even like our program or anything, in fact, actually, that you can think about, but it's some sort of emotional regulation, and that a maturity exists where most people would see you and they think, oh, well, he's very emotionally mature because you only ever cause something to be around about not more than a 2, in fact. And so you've always got at least 78% of yourself behind what you do, which that's pretty slick, because that's...
Thank you.
Well, this is personal power. This is an example of it. And then where somebody is and they could focus on where they could be better. Would you say that because something is flowing first, there's a degree of a parallel processing? That's one way to describe that. Another would be flow between the parts, which is integration. That's the definition of it.
Flow between the parts.
Yeah.
And, that all has to do with peace and love, right?
Yeah, so if you have... What you were saying was when somebody is inspired, you're lengthening the inspiration through your nose.
Oh.
And this causes you to be creative, basically. That's what you were saying before. And if you went out and you just only had a behaviour to see, and someone got out in the morning and they really had a long inspiration, see?
It's pretty amazing how
Right?
much I can say with a little goofy
but then you saw the next person come out and they had a breath that's like this. So the first was somebody who was really lengthening their inspiration through their nose, in the morning, and that's all you saw. And then the other person, you saw them go. And so now, do you know something that's going on because what you've seen? That's what I want to ask you.
Well, if you're using all of your senses, you can figure a few things out. That's for sure. Which
would be preferable for you? You got 10 to give to someone, and all you've just seen is a behaviour. That's all, and you're rating the behaviour, not the person, because their identity is pristine. Okay, and so the behaviour is like somebody had a lengthened inspiration through their nose. That's all you saw, and somebody came out and they went, and it was just like a rabbit breath, fast gone.
Well, I like someone that breathes a lot in their nose. Okay. That's important to me. So probably that person.
Okay, so there's something about just intuitively feeling that somebody who goes, that something is overwhelming them, as you were pointing out.
We're talking a lot of drama with that. With that breath right there.
Yeah. Okay. So, in fact, it is beauty always, and aesthetics always is really to do what behaviour somebody has inside and how they keep themselves company, because basically even in any pageant, no matter what it is or anything, there's some degree that we always have within ourselves, that something social and very sort of etiquette. And some people like you start out saying have charisma, and it's just exuding.
And
it's like kind of not anything they had to do. It's sort of maybe a bit of a red-born mystic.
All my good qualities, I promise you, they're all natural.
Anyway,
I'm very lazy.
Yeah, so somebody could be really good at transformation, and they could have studied even been around transformation, and they could know that when someone is more feeling first as a preferred mode, like what you've been overall saying, they're going to actually then be able to hear things or see things. But so a preferred mode in feeling is going to absolutely cause how somebody's going to interpret their hearing, for sure, and certainly also vision too. So a genius more has her or his feelings sort of more in order inside. And emotional regulation, is if you've got this dial right there in your navel, and you just keep things at a level of below 2 relative in emotion, it's sort of, you're more in a meditative state, and you're reading and rereading onward because you're really sort of learning about the power of body language, and all of us could take a deeper dive more into what's the non-verbal as well as the verbal things in our shows that come up a little bit. But here's one thing I want to ask you. Do you have a feeling that you can absolutely intuitively know authentic behaviour from something which is not authentic?
You can. Comedians will tell you they can pick out an authentic laugh in the audience. They can tell a real laugh from a fake laugh.
Yeah, so, of course, we're an audience, and everyone kind of have 3 qualifying variables relatively. Pretty much it is, science shows that you can accurately feel the emotion that someone else has.
If somebody's crying and sad, you're going to be sympathetic and just watch out for the people that aren't.
Yes, because a lot of people could have only put it into one emotion, like anger, when there's 15 other emotions. And it's a funny thing, like when you asked somebody the other day how many emotions that the person knew, and they only could come up with one, and that was anger itself. But the other one was love, but then
people like that, they'll go from 0 to 100 real fast.
Okay. So, how many words somebody has to describe feeling, of course, that is a higher
words?
IQ. Yeah, it's emotional IQ.
Probably just a few.
Women tend to be more empathic because they're sort of really behavioural sorts of topics and things like that sort of really interest her. And they do him too, but like sports and what's going on with the corporate world and all sorts of stuff might interest him, and fixing things and stuff. But that's not really too interesting to her, you see. But there's so some things are more gender specific. You'd be a better leader if you actually were more gender egalitarian.
Let me tell you something about women, okay? They, as far as I'm concerned, women are probably the most amazing entity or whatever in the universe. And without women, what do you need gold for? What do you need anything for? Right?
It's amazing because everything has intelligence
and it's not just
in design, and something has come along that relate to what this is.
I think that's true.
Would you say that Isaiah was a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty much right that all happened because the stars, all the kinds of things that happened in that story about Isaiah, and also to the king that had got rid of his brother actually really badly wrong, and that the queen who was married to the king. This story sort of, and her son, their son, and this, it's a very, very credible and actually fitting to actual people that existed at the time. But Isaiah was a moment that people just suddenly just stopped eating pigs, which in that whole area, nobody can eat pigs sort of thing, right? Okay.
Which was good for the pigs.
Yeah, it's good for the pigs. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so, but it was good for the people, incredible too, because they got into pastoralizedness and they got sustainable aqueducts and everything, and they grew things which they could store a lot, and so they never famine. Nothing was ever to be bothered of for them.
Okay.
They didn't have to chase lamb butt. But so for instance, if I was asking you, we'll just look at an action. It's like begging, let's say. Okay, that's a good one, because begging is a good one. All of us know sort of an authentic. Yeah, I was thinking of any behaviour we could choose. We'll choose that one because you could choose any.
Begging.
But, begging, and you've got authentic begging versus it's really not authentic. You could tell if
of course
somebody is authentic beggars versus non-authentic beggars. Okay, so you could train people to be better beggars because they could learn what is more authentic, but in the movements
is important.
Yeah, okay. So, if you were only able to see a movement, so far it was pretty good. You were able to absolutely accurately say that the person who had the length and inspiration definitely was attractive. The person who just went, with a fast breath out, didn't seem right to you because they were sort of overwhelmed, all sort of thing going on there. So just with single behaviour, we can sort of read things for sure. And so in this instance, it's begging. Okay, that's good. And you're going to be the judge of an authentic beggar's movement versus this is definitely not authentic beggar's movement, right?
I see.
Okay, so imagine that all you have that you can see right now is a box, and a hand is going to come out of that box to beg.
Okay.
Right? And you're going to judge the hand. That's it.
Am I?
Yeah, you're going to give it a 10. That's really authentic, absolutely. And
if it's, okay.
And you're going to give it a 1 if it's like, it didn't really... I'm glad you showed up. Let's give you a clap because we really appreciate it. Because it's not your identity that you didn't know what was authentic begging. Okay, but you could learn. It's okay.
Yeah.
Authentic. Okay, so authentic beggars. Of course, these things are being studied. Of course, so it's like very scientific. Of course, so
anybody can learn something.
Yes, but especially if you read the books and you saw all of it and it made a lot of sense to you. But then you got to explain it maybe. But my teacher absolutely had a teacher called Speckled Snake, and this was his specialization. And he lived in Andrew Jackson's time.
Snake people.
Yeah, but Andrew Jackson was somebody who ratted the banks out, you see. But it was Speckled Snake was a very famous medicine person at the time.
Oh, you're talking about a person.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were talking about like a speckled cobra or something like that.
No, they took names on like that, Speckled Snake.
Okay.
Yeah, but Speckled Snake, it was like George Carlin of the day.
Oh, really?
Only, of course, brilliant because it was all about, he would teach you, and he only had one teaching. That was funny because he got everything done with this one teaching, and everybody wanted to hear it because he had characterized 4 types of lying.
Really? You know what? This speckled snake guy sounds cool.
It was just like so good because he learned these 4 types of lying, you see.
Let's have them.
And but anyway, so we should go over those at some point.
We'll let the audience know right now. Let's get it to them.
But we're going to stick with the topic of like at the moment because speckled snake there.
Let's just go over the 4 right quick. You don't have to explain. And 1, what is it?
Oh well, long nosing.
Okay. 2.
No, wait a minute. We won't go that way.
Yeah,
but
no,
long nosing. Okay, make 2 because we want to get back to the authentic begging.
Yeah, so we're going to just name them. 1. 2. There's a long nose.
1 long noser. Well, long noses, I'll just give the behavior.
2, yeah.
And we'll get to 2.
Cover it in another episode.
Yeah, no.
Number 2.
And we'll get that to 2. Hold on. Long noses are basically thinking that they have something for themselves, and you shouldn't have that.
Okay.
And
they turn
no one else should.
At you and look down their nose.
Thank you.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2 is let's see. Lip bite.
Oh, lip biting, yes.
Okay.
They're biting their lip while they're telling you something.
Well, not necessarily because you'll see the behaviour. There's 2 types of incongruencies. There's a sequential incongruency would be that I would listen, then after some moment you see me,
as I'm talking,
I bite my bottom lip. Okay, I'm a bottom lip biter.
So
okay, but these are behaviours because
and we'll go
no. We're going to keep going on with it. What we're going to come back to because it's like getting too far away. Because we're going to come back to the little box you're seeing, which is a hand coming out honest, and you're going to judge it.
All right,
and that judging is, and we can't give you too much because you're going to learn too much.
Okay.
But at this moment, like it will be just like a hand coming out, but I would share with you where we're going. Double-faced ghost is the 3rd one.
Double-faced ghost, the 3rd one.
Yeah, double-faced ghosts have behaviours
like being nice to you and then behind your back they're being mean.
Double-faced ghosts they always are in incongruency. So it's sort of like it's not good for themselves and it's not good for you. They're the worst type of liars because the other 3 liars are all liars which absolutely are predictable because they've got predictable behaviours. Fully, well and truly. So criminals have predictable behaviour. But stupid people are the worst.
Yeah.
They
hard
have
to read.
They're not caring about themselves, and they
That describes me.
don't care about others either.
I am one of those ones.
No. Well, yours, people who have perfect detachment, they're the most humble people you've ever met.
Most humble liars.
Perfect detachment. No, because they're not. Their identity is pristine, and they're not,
It's fluid.
something physical or anything at all.
flows.
You know what I mean? But
And then the fourth one, name it, and then we'll go back to your box.
the fourth one,
Yeah.
No, I'll leave that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know why?
What?
Yeah, sorry. Because you've got to come to a show
right.
to learn a bit more about this,
There
but
you
we'll go over
Yeah.
it.
You're gonna
We
have
could
to
do it
come
the next
back.
show if you love.
You're
But,
going to have to come back for that fourth one.
but
right.
see, because like this hand is coming out of the box, empty right now.
Yeah.
If you can see it, you're only going to see two behaviours. That's it.
Okay.
One behaviour, and now you're going to say, is that authentic or not? And it's only a hand coming out of a box.
And there's only two options.
And then another hand's going to come out of a box, and you're going to think, well, which one you're going to give a 10 to, and which one, nah, it's not going to get a 10. That's totally not authentic, you see? Because shouldn't it be that our listeners, they just love it, but they need to know what's authentic begging? Because they could teach people to be better. Do you know what I mean?
Hey, a good beggar can bring in a lot of money for your company.
No, well, yeah, but like people in the corner we're talking about, like really, and they need a buck.
Sure.
And they need to be good at it.
Well, they want to bring in money for their company.
Okay, well, yeah. So authentic beggars, if you're just like teaching people to act, okay, and you've got whole brain functioning and you've learned whole body calibration, and so these are things which you could learn, okay, so you're the professor and you're teaching people about this, right?
Yeah.
And, these students, all they're going to see, and they better know what's authentic, what's not, and you're going to teach them, oh my God, suddenly everybody realize you are so masterful at what you do because you could see in an instant how somebody is, which we all can actually.
You're not talking
no, we all.
me.
Oh, no, well, no, you can.
I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, because we've got to have three variables that are there, and then you can really know.
How do we know which hand's authentic?
All right. So first, we'll look at the behaviours, and then you can judge them. Right?
Okay.
So basically, you're going to see a hand come out, and that's all you're going to see.
Okay.
And on both of these, and you're going to judge which is the authentic beggar.
Got
all
it.
right. Okay. So now, a hand. You see it.
Yeah.
It comes out of the box.
Got it.
And it's real slow.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You think, what the hell? So it's a bit slow, and it comes out at the end, like fast in the moment that it came out. Okay. So you just, that's just one hand.
It comes out slow.
Yes.
And then it puts its hand fast. The hand comes out slowly and then goes fast.
Yes, okay.
With the openness.
Well, okay, so because we want to hear, for our listeners, we've got given them like one type of hand, okay? All right, that's one.
All right.
Okay, now another way we could think about it, because what we did was just to sort of think about the way something happened in its timedness, because, I mean, there's so many other things we could talk about, but just for the moment right now, how that person presented their hand, honest to God, I will know so much about what finger, what's present, and all sorts of things, way more, but we're just going to be just focused just for this moment
the other way
on
the hand comes out? What's
the way the hand comes out, it really comes out a little bit faster in the beginning and slow at the end.
That's authentic.
See, I was trying to trick you.
Oh.
But you did.
No,
you got it right.
I was going to trick you.
No, you got it right.
I was going to say they're both authentic.
Yeah, but you can't.
Because
I don't. But I thought I could trick you because you can't trick me.
Because the hand's in the box. Their hand is in the box.
Okay. But it is authentic. The second one.
Yeah.
Okay. So why would you think the second one is more
because they were
authentic?
quick to go in the box. And then...
No, well, they're going out of the box. They're coming out of the box.
When they were asking...
The hand is coming out of the box. You're only seeing it coming.
You see that come out quick.
So it came out quick.
The hand slows down to be more of a thoughtful begging, where the first hand was almost an entitled begging. There you go.
That's so good. Now, I think average person kind of can feel that, actually, all right?
Yeah.
And we all can, because, like, you can see, oh, God, this was so bad.
Speaking for the average
the actor was soap operaed out. Now, some people are very good actors, and some other people, God, it was just really disastrous.
There's nothing better
So
than
the
a great
person who's a
actor
good actor, it is because they can become any character, right?
But I tell you what, there's also aged actors.
But wouldn't that be like also somebody on the tennis
just
court
get tired.
who is playing out of their brain?
Huh?
Would it be the same as someone playing out of their brain?
Oh,
on the tennis court?
yes.
And then what
let
about
me
on the
tell you
field?
something.
No, when somebody's out of their brain.
you can tell.
Don't you say that?
Yeah.
You say, listen, what other expressions
You
like
can tell
that?
if somebody's playing
good.
without their brain or with their brain. You can tell the difference.
Okay, so but like, what are expressions that, like on the field in football or something that you know that's like out of? What would you say? Out of the box?
Oh well.
What
how
are the
about
things
this?
you say?
Okay, how about the touchdown celebration?
What do you say?
That gets very creative.
Yeah.
People use their, it says a lot about them the way they
you've
celebrate
touched down.
a touchdown.
You've touched down,
and you can actually.
But like, okay, touch and down.
Yeah. That's a good thing in football.
Yeah, because you're actually on the ground.
Yeah.
You're ground dead.
Yeah.
You're sound. It's
But
sound.
Through their celebrations on how they, if they score or not score.
So we're using
way
the
they
vestibular
celebrate,
system
it gives
in
you
a
lot
way
of
that's congruent. You don't want to be up in the clouds, like you said, but you want to be the grounded
Yes.
position.
And guess what?
You want to be in a support position on the
You can
ground.
look in their face. If their face is blank, then they're not there.
So if somebody was in a support position, you'd notice that their feet would be a little wider versus somebody they're not in a support position. It's sort of their feet are. If somebody happened there, bam, they'd be over
But
themselves.
you can look
right?
at somebody's face and tell them if you can tell if they are there and aware or.
What about if somebody was bouncing across a log and they were holding onto the rope behind them before they ventured out and they couldn't go across? They're sort of holding on behind.
What are you saying? They're not.
Oh well, we can see things going on where
scared.
something is. Yeah, exactly.
They're scared.
What about somebody who? That no matter what, they keep their eyes focused where they've got to go across the balanced log, and though you talk with them, they keep their focus where they're going. Versus somebody where they talk to them, and then they're always giving you their eyes, but they're losing the pattern where they are. Yes, these are things which, well, you're just saying that you're pretty good at actually body language. I think generally most people could have a goodness of it. They understand body language, honest to God, because it's 90% of your communion, basically. Really.
Body language is 90% of our communication.
Yeah, because it's like the way that you would say something. So, for instance, like, you're.
I'm gonna start putting my finger on the side of my face.
Well, where you are, you always have a slight slur, no matter what. And you're very relaxed in your style, which is it's very disarming. Okay, and it's very disarming.
Well,
but you would prefer people to be disarmed than armed against you,
that's
right? So the other thing
what's
that you
the best way to disarm a cleric? Ask him for his weapon.
That's cute. But you could actually the sword, which is an S. It's in front of the word. It's like word, but an S is there.
Right.
S for change. But like, I guess the word is mightier than the sword. But being decisive. So when you get something sharp in the tradition, you often would give something round as well, kind of because of a balance of things. Yeah. But if you go to the front yard or something in the front door and you've got very broad, beautiful, broad plants, it's sort of generosity. You have a waterfall or something like that. It's very generous and things. It's like that, and so we would say, honest to God, most people are really good, great bull dust detectors. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Of course they do. Look,
teacher.
Okay, so do you have a feeling that astroturfing is going on?
Absolutely, astroturfing.
Astroturfing is sort of like a false grass movement, meaning the grass movement doesn't really exist, but we only thought it did.
Well, here's the deal with
turfing.
We're tired of it.
What about filibuster?
No,
please, filibuster. Yeah. All right. What about changing the gate of the way something is decided?
That's always interesting. That's interesting to explore.
Yeah, it could be sometimes because like you said, artificial intelligence wouldn't be able to change the gate of anything because it's set, where you and I can. And so that's part of a reason why it's kind of wrong for machines just to kill people, you see.
It's happening. It's going to happen.
But the question is that is gone on, as you said, because Pol Pots exist today, because Pol Pot wasn't, nobody did anything about that sort of thing, and we're all not okay about Pol Pot types of things. And when you ask people about what happened to Galileo, everybody's really mad at that. They know that was really a murder. And then did anybody get charged for any of this? In the same organisation, is it still in power where everything is? And that you don't think some things are so transgressional, matter of fact, that it's just like Abeline paradox. It means that we've got into something which is disagreement. We didn't, were involved in making the rules. And so that's part of the reason why we disagree with the rules, because we weren't involved in making the rules, because only somebody who's the, right man from God and everybody else isn't. But if you listened to everything that, or looked at everything that was written there, you only saw that you were listed as a subject, but you were never the principal primary source, which you are actually. Yeah. So your self-autonomy, like everyone else's, is really pristine, like eye in eye, and behaviour certainly isn't. So an attitude, basically, what you've said is, well, an attitude that's ridiculous. That's not your behaviour. Let's see, any sort of behaviour, matter of fact, isn't. Anything capable, no, that's not your identity, as you said in other programs we've so far said. What you do and doing and what have you, though, that's not your identity either. But okay, or your environment, okay, so let's just stop there. But your identity is pristine, like, because part of you is absolute, which is empty and pristine, and this represents you for eternity, because the only thing which is absolute is empty space, and this is real. I like it. And empty space is real, you see, and that is room for improvement.
And that's
versus
right.
having a lot of stuff in there.
Empty space, you can build the landscape.
Okay, so if a partner existed and coming into your life, is that the reason why you leave a lot of shelves empty?
No.
Yes, it is. Because if they're filled, it's not going to come in. Okay.
Well,
so if somebody can fill for themselves, no, they don't. No, not really. No, it won't happen. Do you know that actually first impression is lasting impression?
Is that true?
Yes, it is. It's so true. Matter of fact, if you win friends and influence people, you know that the most powerful moment that you ever have is actually the first moment that you actually connect with someone and what their feeling is.
Let me tell you something. I naturally am smiling all the time.
Yes, exactly.
And by that, I get a lot of first impressions before I even talk to somebody. I'm giving that out that, hey, this guy's walking around smiling.
Yeah, but also to you,
cool.
I generally have your shoulders back in the way that you see it.
Well, when they're forward, I just try not to touch them.
Yeah, like I said,
with each other.
You've got your shoulders back more in life, so is that because you feel pride in what you do?
I'm comfortable.
Yes, okay. So
you know what I mean? I don't need somebody to tell me.
Balance is.
Oh, you're nice. You're good. You're great.
Right.
I don't need that. I know I am. And
so do you actually feel that a deeper compliment is something more in a leadership quality versus...
Deeper compliments come from me.
Yeah. So deep compliment...
myself.
Deep compliment, the example would...
I know what to tell me.
A shallow compliment would be where someone likes you for themselves.
For themselves?
Yeah.
Oh, like, you are... Yeah,
there's plenty of examples of that.
No,
right.
You are not...
I like your dress is a good example, which is very shallow to her. What would be a deep compliment?
I picked this dress out for you.
I'm asking you. No, sorry. Well, what's a deep compliment to her?
A deeper?
A deep compliment to her.
Baby, you are so beautiful and you smell
this
great.
is the same as the dress. Keep going. No, this is shallow. Keep going. Something deep. Quick.
Something deep?
Yeah, thousands of things that are deep. But,
I love your brain function.
Well, okay, so that could be something.
I like how your brain works.
But okay, so specific, what could you say that I know that's about her brain function that it's very deep compliment?
She just gets me.
Yeah, so could it be that Yeah, so that's kind of quite good. You could, that's a deep
good
compliment.
chemistry together.
Yeah, that can be
Right?
a deep, but basically, actually, so a deeper compliment is something beyond just like I like you for myself.
I feel comfortable around
right?
you.
But it is like you point out, it's something about the other person. So a deep compliment always is about the other person, of course, versus like
What about you smell nice?
I love you for myself.
You smell nice, I think, is a deep compliment.
Well, I love you for myself is very shallow, and it always generally is often about a physical, deep craziness, which is control.
And so what do you
where
always
somebody,
say? What do you always say?
loving, no,
I
like,
love you. Don't add more words.
no, I
Right?
love you.
Because I love you is the most purest.
No, we're only talking about, like, you've got to go beyond that. God help us, you've got to have thousands of millions of ways to compliment someone deeply, of course, especially a woman.
Okay.
And so she's going to be fed up if you have just, I love you for my own self all the time. It's like,
I'm not going to say that.
no, but I know, but we're not saying these things, or I do, because I know, but I could.
Well, if
so
you're saying I love
these
you,
are not
but
exclusive.
you're looking away. Huh? What if you're saying I love you, but you're looking away? That's an old
But these are
Berlin
all
song.
things, again, about personal gratification.
No more words. That's Berlin.
No, well, things which is relate to deeper compliment would be something inside her, and you have to let go yourself. So it's kind of, for some people, that can be not so easy, because conflictedness exists about that. It means that you're to not have any personal gain in yourself suddenly in your words, but you have to be able to think, wow, I have to actually come up with something that I've
So
tracked.
how about this? You're right. So don't compliment them on their appearance. Compliment them on their behavior.
Well, no, you would want to have tracked that.
Their mental.
Let's say that you tracked that she was into, getting cherries and preserving them, and
Preserving
and she was
cherries.
just into the process of putting some wax on the jar or something.
Say she's really good
it
at
was. I'm just looking to think, did you notice something? Because you see, it's interesting. We'll come back to this because it's so important. This is so important, so certainly we'll go beyond it, but just because actually we'll come to this other point here, because it's about personal power that you have. But so far, if you're able to, as you can, track the other person, it means you've had to be receptive to things they've done, and now you're going to be searching for various things which really is about the person's excellence, and now this is a deeper compliment, like you were saying. Okay, so that's just sort of a metaphor, but like what we coming to is first, of course, like where rapport is, like absolutely, of course, like currency is in an account.
Currency is in the account.
With rapport is, you've got currencies in account. And then it doesn't matter, like you were saying, because if somebody's playful, if their priority first in the way they're thinking about things, where stress is, that they go, hey, you know what, my life is more playful, and so now they become more playful, and playfulness is actually what they encourage, and this is the number one thing for them, and it's like, wow, well, this is going to be probably the most flexible way for anyone to be, isn't it?
You said playfulness is what? Our first?
It's where ordinary time is suspended.
It's our first emotion that we learn? Playfulness?
I was going to be thinking that, God help us, it's not even anything we learn, but actually, you know, that when deaf and blind and deaf people are
Playful?
Yeah, they are automatic.
Really?
Right. And then also other things that, like, someone's never seen, never heard, right?
What about
the other things that they do, like, is they smile. I mean, they actually do pleasantry pretty good. So, but if you ask them to do anger, they fail at that. You
Really?
give them one, and it's really not authentic at all.
Well, isn't it good to be one when it comes to anger?
Well, you have to learn how to do that one.
That's right.
It's not natural. Whereas
anger is not natural?
authentic anger, right? Yes. But if you don't know how to twitch your eyeballs to get the tegmentum going, you see, it's kind of not rage. So
My eyeballs, dead giveaway.
yeah, well, if you twitch your eyeballs, now you can get into rage. But otherwise, no. So
All right, so if you're about to get in a rage, start twitching
No, well,
your
okay,
eyeballs.
so well, let's just.
Start twitching
Well,
your
every
eyeballs.
behaviour has to have something authentic. So we could talk about rage, just degrees of it.
And
Just
you
for
know
a second.
what? If somebody's listening on the highway, It's not worth it. Don't do the road rage. I've seen Road Rage Wars. It's a show on television. Oh my God. Ugh.
Yes.
It's entertaining.
Yes.
It really is.
But if you
people
know,
lose it quick.
Oh,
People
well,
lose their minds.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
unbelievable. Well, they would never act like that.
I know. But you see, these are subtle things, would you agree, where somebody's in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
It's
With
just,
Dinah.
Yes, it's subtle. It's like, you're having coffee with someone that you would enjoy to impress.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, okay, how about this, right? Favorite room in the house? It's the kitchen, because we're on the radio.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting because, for her, if you ask her, there's a couple places which she loves in the modern world, and the first place she loves the most is the bathroom.
Well, let's be honest. I was about to say, let's be honest.
Yeah.
The bathroom.
I mean, men might not know that.
We love the bathroom.
Women all over the world, they'll
is
judge a house a lot by how the bathroom feels. Yes. What's the second place in the whole place that women feel, which has to be right, and if it's not, it's like not even going to rate.
Well, if I knew that.
Bathroom was first.
Yeah.
What's the second place?
Bedroom.
The kitchen.
What?
Yeah. So for him, he
right.
thinks this way, which kind of.
But that's
maybe
anybody. Look, me, I'm okay.
about rest.
Since we're being authentic,
yeah, I know.
the bathroom's number one, and the kitchen's number two for me too.
No, yeah, but also rest. There's importance where someone would value something.
Oh, the man cave.
But when we're talking about her, straight off the cuff, she's going to go, listen, this bathroom's palatial. It looks really nice, and that's one thing. And then you say, well, what else? He said, you know what? The kitchen's so beautiful. Why? Because it's so open. It actually it's like an art the way it's done, and it doesn't cut the room out. You see, so she says, so he might be thinking a little different, don't you need cupboards, and we need things to get put there now, things to hang, and she's going, no, because her idea is, please, let's put most things away because it just looks nice the way it is, and don't make it look too big. But he goes, no, I want this to look, I need to have my chopper block. It's like, okay. But sometimes something warm put there a little bit is essential. And so today, actually, that's art. Actually, it's sort of called essential.
Are you saying the kitchen is the woman cave?
No, I'm saying that in a house where we as a people around the world, the bathroom is number one kind of thing in their mind a lot. Big time.
No,
and
that's
kitchen.
That's
and actually
people,
where food and
all people.
where service is.
Yeah.
You know.
When I was younger, the bathroom went number one.
Men answering just truthfully too, and their values sometimes are different a little. Yeah, because they want quiet, peace, relative, and
comfort,
secludedness.
I just want to be comfortable.
At the end of the day,
that doesn't mean having
usually
1,000 acres and a big old mansion house.
The father evermore that's master of transformation is really there because the child is only getting this because she got this or he from learning how to relate. And relatingness was where the dad was, you see. Whereas mum, if you know yourself, okay, so mum knew herself. But if you don't really know yourself, it's sort of, it's like mum really didn't know herself. But as you really do know yourself inside, it's typical that your mother knew herself pretty well. But if you're really good at relating, okay, so you actually had your dad experience where this is sort of thing.
It's one of your things, generalization. Helps you relate. Now, give us 3 steps of that helps or boosts or whatever that makes us enhances our personal power. 3 steps.
Okay, first it would be what you said was feel first and definitely have a preferredness in your feeling. And it's going to influence everything. Okay. Absolutely.
And have an authentic preferred or feeling that you...
Yeah. So, being congruent where parallel processedness is, and then you've got a flow between the parts, which is integration between the parts.
Chemistry.
And then you have, somebody's being more associated, being present tense more. Mm-hmm. You're going to give somebody more attention for being present and be able to do things, and automatic. This person you will put into a leadership position because you can see something going to get done. And if there were degrees about that were missing, you're still looking to see what's the best fit where something is, you see. But it is relating to these sort of variables. And so the other would then be because, whole absolute, like you said, would be grounded, sound, on the ground, and transparent. So, there's receptivity, and now somebody can be totally able to respond, like you said. Their whole activity is about response. So that's true too about whatever you would have got back from someone too, because that is communication. Absolute. There's a good definition of communication would be the response you get back. So kinesthetic is feeling, auditory, is sound, and visual is visual componentry of ourselves. And kinesthetic, auditory, visual is a genius in the way that you use your senses, yes? Mm-hmm. And so where sensory system deletion was, it sort of could be selective restrictive violation, because it could be something that you don't usually do, like in your playful self, you're really great, and everything is flowing good. And when people maybe not too playful, they sort of could not have as much flexibility and these sorts of things. So I think the prioritization is really good, and we can begin to actually start, and I hope 4 years could be just somebody's learning about personal power. But basically, in a nutshell, what we just said for our program is, first, it is your ability to be able to win friends and influence people, mm-hmm. your ability to be able to get sales, and a range of things like this. Also, we said that you've got the response that you've got back from people, and so some people are very, very auditory, and if you didn't catch that where they are in the audience, you didn't say, oh, that sounds good, you don't have rapport with them. And then a lot of men, they're very visual kinesthetics.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't say, hey, did you get the big picture? Well, you should. Why? Well, because
big picture.
Yeah, because
that's an
it's
episode.
Looking over things.
That's an episode.
And you don't think that somebody's looking over things, they're going to get things better? What if you could not look over things? And I'm asking you felt, good, you felt good, and you could hear like a mouse, mm-hmm. but you weren't like the eagle, and you could overview everything. You see what I mean?
All right.
So in our senses, there are unique things that come to us because of it. That would be one thing that we say about your personal power. Your ability to influence people is the rapport that you have is about a pace and lead where things are, because as you introduce an idea, better that somebody has something about that inside themselves already. Basically, that kind of some of the things you presuppose in other programs so far.
I just want to influence 100 million people to send me $1. That's it.
Yes.
Anyways, we're going to wrap things up. Leave us with something simple to make our lives better.
Could we let go of material things just to be what's not literal personally? That's one thing, because that could be something that's about perfect detachment, because our program today has sort of really been about power being perfect detachment, and keeping the change, like you said, and getting change. So when somebody gets the change, where you're given something, like you said, you should keep the change versus than just chucking the change out, which is so beautiful, because everything is really a charge and a discharge. There's a current sea inside ourselves, and something carries all of this, just like a river does, out into the mouth, into the sea. And so where you or I are, definitely look into this because of your words and the way that you've gone about things. If you pull your chin in a little bit, like MT does all the time, and he always is kind of raising his eyebrows just a little bit, and he's got kid rapport.
Sometimes as high as I can.
And he knows that he can sell his grandmother's stuff, because he's sort of always in kid rapport, basically. But let's do things more methodically. I think that's really what MT is saying. Slow down a little bit and give yourself room. That's what MT Turtle is about, really. Your home is where you are. That's MT Turtle itself as well.
You know what I want to leave everybody with today?
Yeah.
Mind your gut your mind, and if you feel good, you'll do good.
What about gut your mind so that you can mind your gut?
That's what I'm talking about. And if you feel good, you'll do good. You'll do good. Why am I grabbing your coffee cup?
Yeah.
Take us out, Dr. Jubb.